Hello, Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Black Butler, chapter 169. When we last left our heroes, we finished Heathfield Manor? Maybe? Possibly? Jane just kind of surrendered after, she realized that she didn't really have a shot at beating both Mei Rin and Ran Mao, so she was just like, yeah, I'm out, I think. She woke up the maids, Mei Rin and Ran Mao. Mei Rin destroyed the blood supply that Heathfield was storing, and Ran Mao destroyed the equipment that they were using to drain the blood. So it looks like we're kind of done. Maybe. Possibly. One sec. So let's jump right on into chapter 169, The Butler Screaming. That's a particular term. Our picture here is a sleeping one of the Ciels. Radiance of the Flesh. I don't think our Ciel sleeps with the eye patch on, so I can't use that to determine who this is. But either way, we open. This looks to still be the manor. We see some people sleeping. This is like the upper floors of the manor. And a woman wakes up. Do you hear that? And then the woman and the other woman sleeping in the room. Eek, is this place shaking? Is this an earthquake? The two of them go into the hallway. What is this sound? And two more women also come out of their room. It's coming from downstairs. And that is... We then see the woman who I think we found out last chapter was kind of managing all of the blood drawing. She's up and a little startled. She goes downstairs. Mrs. Abby, this noise. Yes, something's happening in the basement. Which I think means this older woman is also in on it. But then Abby sees something that shocks her. And it is all of the captured maids, still naked, just like with their bed sheets covering them, all running out of what should be the basement, but they seem to be coming downstairs? But the point is, they're escaping. And the two of them, Abby and the older lady, look shocked. I thought you were all dismissed. Why are you here? These are the innocent maids who have seen them all. We were all kept asleep in the basement. The yard. Call the Scotland Yard. Yes. So it looks like the innocent... I can't tell if that's... judging the fact that her outfit looks like more than just a bedsheet, I think the one who says to call Scotland Yard is one of the innocent maids who didn't know about this. And then another one goes off to call them. And Abby calls out to all of the, panicked women. Wait! You must obey the housekeeper's orders. And just then, a gun fires. And it's Jane, who is fully, changed sides here. This is the end of the Baron's search for his bride. Jane? So I don't think she fired it, actually. I was reading the chalk sound effect as a boom. And I thought it was maybe, like, the curtain, or, like, she was holding it against a curtain of some kind, but looking at that panel again, it's clearly, the cardigan-looking thing that Abby is wearing, and her hair at the top. But anyway, this is the end of the Baron's search for his bride. Jane. And we see Ran Mao and Mei Rin are also there, with... I thought that was an old lady earlier. I think it might be an old man, actually. Not entirely sure. And Abby turns back to Jane. You traitor! Oh? In the job description, a maid that never betrays her employer was not specified. Okay. Wait. That's quite the line. I mean, I guess that's technically true. And just then, it looks like this is Heathfield, who's coming down the stairs to see all the women gathered in the foyer. What the hell's happening here? We see Heathfield, who's still, like, battered and bruised from what Ran Mao did to him. Why are my bride candidates here? And all of the captured women look up at him. Brides? You call us brides? Your soul bears a resemblance to my wife's soul. How dare you deceive us? You're an enemy of women, you brute. Your techniques were awful. Go to hell, you pervert. They all just, like, beat the ever-living crap out of him. I don't know, it's kind of a cutesy ending to this storyline. And I'm not entirely sure if it works. I don't know. But yeah, they all just kind of whack him. And Mei Rin turns to Ranmao. We'll leave now, Ranmao. The yard will take care of the rest, they will. The yard will take care of the rest, they will. And then we see the sky. As Mei Rin, Ranmao, and Jane have all left the manor. And Jane says, well, I'm unemployed once again. Is she gonna join Ciel? I feel like that's right about to happen. I wonder where I should go next. I wasn't able to get a reference. Naturally. Yeah, because you kind of had a bunch of people beat your employer to death. And Mei Rin tells her, I won't mind referring you for a position, I won't. No thanks. I refuse to work for a master who works his servants like a slave. So there goes that theory. I'll go somewhere where there are no troublesome co-workers. She throws off her maid's apron. I'll see you around. And as we see someone's footsteps. I'm not entirely sure that's meant to be Jane's or Mei Rin's. But either way, Mei Rin and Ranmao turn to look at the manor. Let us return to young master. And then we see another manor, which I think might be Ciel's, which means currently the real Ciel is in there. And yeah, we see real Ciel asleep, an Undertaker, like, lounging on a couch by, like, the foot of his bed. And we see Undertaker looks at the serious blood pack. Oh, yeah, we also see a little, kind of looks like an IV machine, that's probably giving real Ciel the blood he needs. Which kind of puts them in a bit of a problem, because the blood is no longer available, at least as easily. We don't know if the other locations were also involved in this kind of thing. So we'll see. There's a knock on the door. And one of the, I think we decided the Black Hoods were all Aurora Society guys. And he walks in. I have just returned. Welcome home, Polaris. Oh, is this one of the 4 stars that Spirit Music Hall is propping up? Because if I recall correctly, we never found out who they were, besides, I think, even only heavily theorizing that Sirius was real Ciel, which I think this scene with the blood pack confirms, if it hadn't been confirmed already. It very well might have been. Anyway, welcome home, Polaris. I have something to report. Undertaker responds, it does not seem to be good news. No. The blood factory in the north was assaulted and annihilated. Baron Heathfield has been taken into custody. And Undertaker lets out a foo, or maybe it's someone lets out a foo. I can't tell who it is. But just then we hear a laugh. One sec. Ha ha ha. That's not bad news at all. And we see real Ciel start to sit up. He's awake now. This is my first serious fight with my little brother, and he won the first round. Nothing can give me greater pleasure than this. Hehe. Just what I expected you to say. But Polaris snapped. This is nothing to be pleased about. If we fail to stop him, we will run out of radiance we must keep offering to Lord Sirius. Those useless fools. And he starts, like, tearing apart the room. Every single one of them are utterly worthless. I should have killed them all and squeezed every drop of blood out of them. No, it's not too late. I'll turn them all into minced meat. And he takes his knife and, like, stabs it into the ground. Polaris. And real Ciel stops him. I am not Lord Sirius anymore. That title refers to my little brother now. Oh, right, because he had used, he had framed real Ciel, our Ciel, as being Lord Sirius. And Polaris stops. Lord Ciel, forgive me. Which means I was wrong when I said earlier about not being sure that we had the Sirius thing confirmed already, because we definitely did. That was a very important thing. But in my defense, that was like 20 chapters ago, and we've had one hell of a tangent in that time, so I'm gonna blame Yana for my own forgetfulness. But anyway, Polaris kind of clenches his fist, and Ciel tells him, you look pale. It is relatively easy to collect fresh blood for you, but still, you cannot function for too long. Leave and take your rest for the day. And Polaris pauses for a moment before responding, I am terrified. If I should lose my master once again, I wouldn't be able to rest even if I die. Who is he supposed to be then? If I should lose my master once again, I wouldn't be able to rest even if I die. That last part I don't think really is too important. Should lose my master once again. Does that mean he's an old Phantom Hive servant? Or is it saying, like, and then lose my master once again refers to Real Ciel's first death? Or is it saying that he's someone who's already lost their master? I don't know. And Undertaker just kind of looks at him. I can't even imagine where else I could be, as I'm a butler, even in death. To be continued. Okay. Are we supposed to recognize him? Because we see that he's clearly a butler, obviously. Alright, let's talk about this chapter. Because this is, for one thing, probably the best chapter we've had since we entered Heathfield Manor over a year ago. That minor sub-arc took up over a year. And mostly because 8 chapters of that were just a fucking Mayrin flashback. But either way, it was incredibly slow. And I'm glad we're finally out of it. I will say, like I kind of mentioned earlier, the resolution is just a little bit too cutesy. It doesn't really feel like the kind of resolution that Black Butler would go for normally. You know, all the women get together and they just beat the tar out of him. Like, it's nice. But, like, I don't know. Also, like, I'm rereading these lines here that they say when they're beating the tar out of him. And they just kind of don't entirely seem to... Like, they're acting like he just kind of, you know, is a perv and not a serial kidnapper who drained their blood. And maybe they don't know that their blood was drained, but they definitely know that he was a serial kidnapper who kept them unconscious for some of them probably months. So the whole ending in the manor is just, again, a little cutesy. But at least we're out of it. We have this final scene with Jane that implies that she'll return in some way, which is fine. She's not a character I hate. She just got stuck in a storyline that I don't think anyone liked. But as a kind of counter to Mayrin, she's kind of interesting in how she can be used in future arcs, assuming that there ever is a future arc, because that's assuming that Blue Cult will ever end. But if there is an end to Blue Cult, Jane could be used in future arcs, and I'm not opposed to her. Hopefully, she just gets stuck in a better story than Heathfield Manor turned out to be. But then we have by far the most interesting section of the chapter. And that's checking in with Undertaker and Real Ciel, and meeting Polaris for, I think, the first time. Which shows us... I mean, I'm trying to... The big thing it shows us is Polaris' personality. His, you know... He might be kind of like how Mayrin and Jane were kind of counters. You know, a counter between Sebastian and Polaris. Both of whom are butlers to the Ciels, in particular. Though while Sebastian, you know, keeps our Ciel alive, he's not exactly devoted, especially emotionally. Whereas, you know, we see Polaris tears streaming down. You know, if he loses Master once again, he wouldn't be able to rest even if he dies, as I'm a butler even in death. And I'm trying to think of other butlers that we could, like, the only other butler I can really think of is Agni. But Agni's been died long after, the Sphere Music Hall started. Long after Polaris has been, you know, getting blood taken. So that wouldn't work. But yeah, it's an interesting thing it's an interesting, scene with them. That scene with Real Ciel, Undertaker, and Polaris, which is something that can't really be said for the past year of this manga. So, also, another thing that makes me at least cautiously optimistic is we don't go straight into the next investigation, which means maybe we're not going to focus on the other investigations, which would be nice, because there are still, like, what, 4 or 5 of them? And if they're as long as Heathfield, I don't want to think about that. But anyway, we do see, I just really like the scene between Polaris, Undertaker, and Real Ciel. It's the kind of thing that reminds me why I like this manga in the first place. Because eventually, occasionally, things actually happen. We see Real Ciel raring to go, just because, he finally gets to fight his brother for the first time. And then Polaris is just a little unhinged. But, he's also clearly a corpse, because I'm pretty sure it's, all the 4 stars were corpses. And he needs blood, a more common blood type than what Real Ciel needs. But yeah, beyond that, I think I'm just kind of stating things that we all already know by now. But yeah, things happen in this chapter, and that's something that's frustratingly uncommon to say about Black Butler. So I'll take my victories where I can. And the things that happened were actually really interesting, so that's an extra plus. But yeah, that's all I have to say for this chapter. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!